10 years have passed and the echoes still remain. UAlbany and Notre Dame haven't met often, but this NCAA tournament overtime thriller was unforgettable. Nowadays, the Great Danes rely upon Silas Richmond to create their highlights. With America East Rookie of the Year Ryan Doherty shooting up a storm against the incomparable Liam Entenmann, backbone of the defending champion Fighting Irish, who begin defense of their title with Pat Cavanaugh, eager to celebrate again on ESPN. A touch of gold this Mother's Day in South Bend, Indiana, where the Great Danes of UAlbany carry America East Conference pride into a showdown with Notre Dame, the defending champs and top seed in this NCAA tournament, who begin on home turf. It is great to see you again. Along with Matt Ward, a two-time national champion at Virginia, I'm Joe Beninati. Notre Dame should enter this tournament brimming with confidence. Their performance in the ACC tournament was exceptional.
Yeah, I think going into last weekend, I thought they were the best team in the country, but I thought it was close. After what they did to Duke and Virginia, domination at every level of the field, no question to me they're the team to beat as they race for Memorial Day.
Notre Dame has a long list of offensive standouts, and that discussion usually begins with Pat Cavanaugh.
Yeah, he's going to go down as the greatest player in program history. And you said it, Notre Dame is deep, but Pat Cavanaugh is the leader. He is the engine of this offense, and he can just do it all, right? Like the creativity inside. He gets his teammates involved. He can run down the side and attack from any level of the field, unlike anyone in college lacrosse. I absolutely love his game.
UAlbany presents an interesting challenge, Matt, with Jake Vecino. They're do-it-all defensemen.
Yeah, he's an agent of chaos, right? He is amazing in transition. He's one of the best shooters with a long stick in college lacrosse. He gets this Great Danes offense clicking in transition. He is one of the most fun players to watch, and you don't say that very often about a defensive player, but man, can he do it all, and I just absolutely love watching him compete for this Great Danes team.
It'll be easy to find 88 on the field. When it comes to this afternoon's netminders, Matt, Liam Entenmann of Notre Dame, the highly decorated keeper for the Irish, he's the best you'll find in the college game.
When you think about how deep college lacrosse is, for my money, I think Liam Entenmann right now is the front runner for the Torton Award. I think he has been playing at that level, and he is just something no other team has.
UAlbany's Landon Whitney experiencing all this tournament fuss for the first time, and the freshman definitely has the full faith of the Great Danes.
And he is fun to watch, and he can get hot. If you watch the Virginia UAlbany game early in the year, he was absolutely on fire early on, keeping the Danes in that game.
Ready to go with the opening draw from Arlotta. The officials, Josh Blaisdell, J.D. Doyle, and Tyler Harriman, with top-seeded Notre Dame on home turf wearing the white. Sean Light working the sideline, 20 seconds to clear the midline. Ben Ramsey fighting against the UAlbany ride, able to clear. One of the keys, as always, with Kevin Corrigan was clearing the ball successfully. Both of these coaches, Matt, we're talking about successful clears today to ignite their offense.
And think about Ben Ramsey, right? Number 24. He is a D-midi, playing on the wings of the faceoff, but Albany got into a nice, aggressive, almost 10-man ride there, and their D-midi showed the composure, the patience to get that ball in the offensive end. He is an incredible lacrosse player.
Two teams streaking very much in the right way. UAlbany winners of 5 straight. This Notre Dame squad having picked off a 12-1 mark. Dobson on the go, feed it inside, deflects away. They scramble for it, bounce right back to Eric Dobson.
And that right there is a theme for Notre Dame. Every 50-50 ground ball typically comes up their way.
Settling in here, 6-on-6 in the game's first 2 minutes. Chris Cavanaugh picked up on the perimeter by Darian LaPietro. A throwback for Pat. He's covered up by Sam Stratton. Feed it inside, quick stick, score! Devin McLean gets the Irish party started.
McLean, the transfer from Brown, has been doing this all year. His off-ball prowess is off the charts. That's his 28th goal in the season, and I bet you he hasn't had the ball on his stick for more than 28 seconds. Pat Cavanaugh, right? This is like a typical Notre Dame offensive set. Kind of loose ball, scramble. Pat Cavanaugh picks it up, gets his hands free, operating in front of the cage, and that's just too easy. UAlbany has to do a better job off ball, matching stick for stick. Notre Dame will make you pay every time.
McLean entering today's game with multi-goals in 4 straight outings. Had a 4-goal performance against Virginia in the ACC semifinal. Regan Enders gets the draw for UAlbany. His pass then crossing up its intended target. Jacob Smith off the wing. It's controlled by Ryan Doherty. Great Danes in the purple get their first 6-on-6 full offensive touch. Alex Pfeiffer began the season with a goal-scoring streak in 6 consecutive. Graydon Hogg working from the top, and all-conference performer. This one's buzzed high on Liam Entenmann.
Sometimes the simple offensive sets are so pretty to watch, right? Just a simple give and go led to a really great scoring opportunity early for the Danes.
Pfeiffer will invert against Parlett. Pfeiffer outstanding in the opening round game, the win over Sacred Heart. That pushed the Great Danes through to this matchup with the top seed. Hogg defended by Will Donovan. Change the point of attack. This missile rattles off the outside of the frame. Entenmann was there with the head of his cross. It's a reset of the shot clock to 60. Parlett way out on Pfeiffer. Silas Richmond is one to watch today, 15 in the purple. Leads this UAlbany squad in goals, assists, and points. This pass is over top. It's a turnover. Uncatchable there for Ben Wimmer.
And I like the offensive set there for UAlbany. Patient, right? It ended in that kind of unfortunate turnover, but they generated a nice couple opportunities there. The key to beating this Notre Dame team is to not speed the game up, slow it down to a snail's pace.
Devin McLean's given Notre Dame the lead 1-0. The Irish team has won 10 straight, their longest win streak since 2012. Working in off the sideline, Angrick into the alley. Shares the ball back behind, switch it inside looking for Taylor, ball down. Out of the pack. Pat Cavanaugh gets control with Piscino hovering nearby. Shot clock's at 25. Riley Gray off the split dodge from right to left. LaPietro there with him. This ball gets away from Pat Cavanaugh. It's a turnover back to UAlbany. Albany starting close defense. Max Neeson, Sam Stratton, and Jake Piscino, the America East Conference Defender of the Year. Second midfield out there for Scott Marr, Parker Emmett, Danny Kesselring, Jackson Palem. Doherty, the America East Rookie of the Year. Notre Dame defense been buttoned up tight all season long, holding teams below 10 goals. Kesselring, no shooting alley. Richmond fires, kicked out of there by Entenmann, and the rebound scooped up swiftly by Ben Ramsey, an all-ACC short stick defensive midfielder. Liam Entenmann, 56% save percentage entering play today.
And right here, we'll take a look at Liam Entenmann, the best keeper in the country, making that stop. The key to beating him is you have to have all of your energy going north-south. Any of it going back toward the midline or to either sideline, he is going to make you pay.
Rangy netminder, 6'3", plays wide. So tough to beat down low.
He plays long, too, right? So he has a tendency to go low, but his arms and his torso are so long that he can still guard the top portion of the cage.
Tewaaraton Award finalist Entenmann, guarding the interests of the Fighting Irish in this NCAA tournament. UAlbany in possession in the purple. The only goal on the board to this point for Notre Dame's Devin McLean. Richmond not able to get underneath there. Hogg keeps it hot. This drive from Pfeiffer sizzled wide.
Very good offense there for UAlbany. Nice patient set, initiating and attacking the backside.
Chris Conlon draws the assignment on Silas Richmond. That pass to the interior doesn't connect with Amos Whitcomb. Shot clock's at 20. Looking for Richmond cutting inside. Whitcomb doesn't come up with the scoop. Follow-up chance that was rejected. Punched over the end line by Light. This will stay UAlbany ball.
Great Danes came to play, matching physicality.
Pfeiffer's inverted. Sneak here, stuff and score! Turning the corner and going top shelf, it's Ben Wimmer.
And that is a momentum-building offensive set for the Great Danes. Finally able to get one past Entenmann in the cage. Right here, Wimmer does the nice job, and it's a subtle bend right here off the top bar. Beats Entenmann to get this game knotted at 1.
Wimmer with tallies in 3 of his last 5. We're level. Exchanging tallies. It's 1-1 in the early going as we near the midway mark of this opening quarter. Having a look at the bracket. This winner of Notre Dame UAlbany will see Georgetown, Matt, in Hempstead next weekend. The Hoyas prevailing over Penn State, 12-9 earlier today.
Yeah, this looks like the committee got the seeding right thus far. No upsets on this side of the bracket.
Denver knocked off Michigan. Silstrop and Molosky had hat tricks in that one. Parlett comes up with the scoop. Notre Dame on the attack. This is sent wide of Whitney, backed up on the end line by Pat Cavanaugh. Georgetown with Jordan Ray, a 4-goal provider in the game that preceded this one. First round of the 2024 NCAA Division I Men's Lacrosse Championships on ESPN. Jordan Faison has it. Shifting gears, gets into the alley, pumps one on cage. It's fought off by the netminder Landon Whitney.
How subtle is his explosion, right? It looks like he's jogging and just gaining separation.
A wonderful change of pace, acceleration. Coach Corrigan said he arrived as a much more complete lacrosse player than they had imagined. Not just a terrific athlete off the football program. Chris Kavanaugh getting downhill. Isolates back behind the goal, working against a short stick defensive matchup. It's the best of UAlbany's shorties in Connor Finger. That pass is low, rolls towards the end line. Another turnover, a sloppy start to this point offensively for Notre Dame.
And Albany on the defensive end doing a nice job sliding and recovering. Notre Dame is a team that is kind of the king of the hockey assist. So they really like to draw slides and then make a couple passes to find their offensive opportunity, and the Great Danes talking through that very effectively.
Top seeds a little bit mistake prone in the early going. That's their 4th turnover. Parker Emmett challenged a long way from the goal by Carter Parlett. Kesselring will swing it up top for Whitcomb. Silas Richmond playing with Parker Emmett on the perimeter. Given a whack by Parlett. Deliberate offensive set here. Kesselring shakes free. Working against Donovan, who keeps him at stick's length. Parlett against Whitcomb. That's an awkward and tough shot. It's trimmed a little bit too fine. Closest to the ball where it leaves the field. Gets possession after a missed shot. Keep it with Albany.
Nice effort from Sean Light, number 90, Notre Dame.
Shot clock's at 5. Great takeaway check. Will Donovan, an all-ACC long stick midfielder, gets the ball back for Notre Dame. A low-scoring opening quarter in the first 10 minutes, deadlocked at 1.
Right here, look at the back check from Donovan. It's the patient, right? And he changes direction. He doesn't bring the stick and protect it with his right shoulder, leaving it open for Donovan to land that nice back check.
Riley Gray on the move against Shook. Feed it inside. Taylor scores! A beautiful bouncer off hip.
Notre Dame, the deepest team in the country without question. Their second midfield is producing at a level that no other team in the country can replicate. Riley Gray, the nice patient pass to Taylor with the sladink to the far post. The low release bouncer right at his feet to change planes, almost like an elevator shot, but off the bounce. Jay Jalbert credits himself with coming up with that term.
Spleak. Taylor with goals in 8 of his last 9. He and McLean sandwiching markers around the Wimmer strike. You're all caught up. It's 2-1 for Notre Dame in the white jerseys here at Arlada on a sun-splashed day. Happy Mother's Day. Second of 2 NCAA tournament games played on this field. Good strip. Bergmaster with a takeaway check. Irish looking to put goals back to back. That pass gets away though, looking for Tyler Buckner. Earlier today, Michigan beat Notre Dame. A sweet 16 teams in action today in the women's tournament. 8 games. Michigan's Jill Smith met with the winner with just 1 second left in a thriller. UAlbany has possession. Whitcomb, Doherty, and Richmond the starting attack. First line midfield for Scott Marr gets in there. It's Wimmer and Pfeiffer with Graydon Hogg. Pfeiffer off of a 6-point performance against Sacred Heart, drawing the early double. Richmond backpedaling away. Hogg lets it go. Kicked out by Liam Ettiman. The rebound sails out of bounds.
Another good offensive set for the Great Danes, but Notre Dame, they can feel comfortable letting the most talented shooters in the country take shots from 15 yards because they have the answer in the cage in Liam Ettiman, who is playing his best lacrosse of his career right now.
The ultimate eraser, 4 saves already in the first 12 minutes. Richmond cranks this one up. That missed high. Backed up by Whitcomb. Whitcomb, the 7th leading scorer for the Great Danes of UAlbany. Wimmer wants it from the top. Hogg against Buckner. Buckner tries the wrap check. This sidewinder that was canceled. Napolitano looking for the ground ball. It comes up for Pfeiffer with 20 seconds to shoot. Hogg, feed for Doherty. Matched up with Light. Slams on the brakes, 5 seconds to shoot. Hogg's just going to roll this in the corner. Shot clock violation against UAlbany.
And you could see Hogg thought about taking a low-angle shot there as the shot clock expired, but I think thought more wisely to throw that in the corner because Ettiman would eat that up and create transition and put your defense at a disadvantage.
Ettiman and the Irish, the 4th best defense in the nation when it comes to scoring and goals allowed. Clearing time for the Irish. Buckner making his way to the cage. Feed it and float it just away from Taylor. They're going to say that that was a pass, which it was. Another turnover against Notre Dame. Tail end of this first 15 minutes. Jake Taylor has given Notre Dame the advantage by the 2-1 count.
And this is, I think, a very important first quarter for the Great Danes based on what Notre Dame did last week against Virginia and Duke. The early leads that they got in both of those games were insurmountable. Great Danes have weathered the storm, and albeit I think Notre Dame's been a little sloppy, made a few foolish plays, a couple lazy plays that aren't their brand of lacrosse.
UAlbany, Matt, never trailed when they eliminated Sacred Heart in the opening round. Congrats to the 13-win Pioneers, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference champs. That was their first ever NCAA tournament appearance. Disposed by these Great Danes. 25 on the shot clock, 40 on the game clock. Jackson Palin nudged away there. Good defense turned in by Ramsey. Another quick stick check from Bergmaster. Looking for the first time ground ball. Light gets it with help from Bergmaster. And the roars from the faithful at Arlada. 14 seconds, last call in this opening quarter for the Irish. Nick Harris speeds ahead. Looks for a more offensive-minded sub. 3 seconds, he'll go to goal himself. Let it go! Kicked out of there by Whitney as the horn sounds, ending the opening 15 minutes. The freshman, Landon Whitney. He looks down at the opposite end. He sees Liam Ettiman in goal for Notre Dame. An interesting net-minding matchup. Each of them trying to outdo the other. We will continue with more first-round action from South Bend right after this. Baton Award finalists. These are the best of the best in Division I on the men's side.
Yeah, look, I think it's probably the best group of finalists that we've had in college lacrosse. All 4 attackmen, right? Generational attackmen. Matt Brandow, the amount of points he put up this year was ridiculous. And then you've got the greats in Schellenberger, Brennan O'Neill, and Pat Cavanaugh. But to me, I think Liam Entenmann has a real chance to be the first non-offensive player, really, to take home this award. I think to some degree, maybe just some of the attackmen cancel each other out, and he's kind of an outlier as the one non-attackman there.
One thing we should always mention, too, is that tournament performance enhances your resume before the award is given out at the end of the month in Washington, D.C.
Right, and look, he's got a pretty good track record. Last year was the MVP of the tournament, so you got to expect that he's going to play his best across 4 saves there in the first quarter.
We talked with Kevin Corrigan earlier in the week. We talked to him obviously at length about Entenmann, but he was saying defensively in the ACC final against Duke may have been the best they've played on that defensive end of the field all season long. It's carrying over again today.
Yeah, look, I think in that first quarter there, Notre Dame had 6 turnovers. 0 of them were caused by UAlbany, right? So they were sloppy offensively, and guess what? The Danes only put one ball past Entenmann. They just are matchup indifferent defensively. They switch off picks. They can all guard on ball, off ball. They have probably the best group of D-middies in the country. I mean, they are playing great team defense.
And now showing off their third midfield. Fisher Finley sweeps from the top. Jalen Seymour on the outside. That pass is picked off perfectly. There's Piscino anticipating with another caused turnover. UAlbany's all-time leader in that regard.
His typical stat line, right? Couple goals, 7 ground balls, 5 turnovers. I mean, he is just unlike anyone I feel like we've seen in lacrosse in some times, especially because his stature. He's not that tall. Usually when you're a D-man making turnovers, it's typically a bigger body. He is not physically intimidating, but man, does he make you feel pressure when he's on you.
Piscino, 2.5 caused turnovers per game, 3rd best in the nation. UAlbany in the purple. The goal from Ben Wimmer in the opening frame. Notre Dame won better. McLean and Taylor have struck for the top seeds and defending champs. Off the sweep, Wimmer will throw back. Richmond bothered immediately there. Conlin altered that shot. Lights with a first-time scoop on the sideline. Once again showing off all of that poise. Arlette looks to clear. Sling it back for Liam Entenmann, who wears number 40 today. Entenmann and Parlett have been going back and forth wearing that 40 jersey, which honors Mike Sennett, former captain of the Fighting Irish. Just past the 2-minute mark in quarter 2, bottom of the hour time with you. Dobson, feed it right back, Faison. Switch the point of attack on the curl there. Whitney straightens up nicely to make that save on McLean. When we were talking with the coaches and players for UAlbany, we got the sense that the lights wouldn't be too bright for Landon Whitney. Here, though, an unsuccessful clear. That pass gets away from Sam Stratton.
With where the sun is right now, clearly throwing it a cross-field pass to the far side of the field is going to be very hard for the defenseman to track.
Dobson off the split dodge. Piscino will peek out on him. McLean's inverted, the midfielder back behind the cage. Tries that jump shot. Whitney was stapled to the post. Sharp start for Landon Whitney. Goalie play has been quite good in the first 19 minutes of this game. That pass down the alleyway just snared in time. Silas Richmond, who had a 7-goal game earlier this season against Virginia. Scored the first 3 goals of that game, in fact. UAlbany hung around with Virginia, and the Cavaliers, though, would stretch them out in the 3rd quarter, a 7-goal explosion. Kesselring, feed, Richmond took his eyes off of that one. Off the ground, Sean Light looking for numbers. Not much in transition, so Chris Kavanaugh will chill out on the outside.
Sean Light for Notre Dame, he's only a freshman. I think going into next year, he's the best defenseman in the country.
That quickly, he's made that much of an impression.
I mean, he has picture-perfect footwork. He never compromises his body position by throwing poorly timed checks. He's good off the ground. He's physically intimidating.
From the top, Angrink lets it fly. Snared out of the air. Vecino, who has 13 goals this year on the run. Fast break Richmond behind the back. Whitcomb, well played. Notre Dame getting back in the hole beautifully defensively. Napolitano with a steal. Gray looks to run for the Irish.
I think Vecino gave that one up a little prematurely. Didn't make Notre Dame collapse down on him to create a shooting opportunity for Whitcomb or Richmond.
Chris Kavanaugh, marked by Darian LaPietro. Gray lets it go, he scores! Riley Gray.
The second goal from this second midfield of the Fighting Irish. Offensive coordinator Coach Wojcik said, look, this team makes our starting defense at times struggle in practice. And they have gotten better and better each opportunity they step onto the field.
Face-off control for Will Lynch, an all-ACC conference performer at the X. Chris Kavanaugh spying over this UAlbany defense. First two-goal lead on the day for the top-seeded Irish. A date in the quarterfinal looms for the winner of our game. The Hoyas are there, the only team that's bested Notre Dame this season. Dobson maneuvers in, gets underneath, great look inside, just flicked wide by Jake Taylor. He won't miss many of those.
Not many, but let's talk about Dobson right there. Predominantly left-handed bull dodger, creates contact, face dodges to his offhand, his right hand, and that's typically what you're weakest at, is passing with your offhand. And the touch pass to Taylor there just shows the development in his game.
Chris Kavanaugh angles in, sidewinder score! McLean with a hot stick early.
Right here, Eric Dobson sweeping across the field to Kavanaugh, and then McLean does a nice job filling back post, stepping away and getting his hands free, and it's in and out. His second goal of the game, and again, as I mentioned earlier, he does not possess the ball very long, but is incredibly efficient in putting it in the back of the cage.
5 straight multi-goal games for Devin McLean. That was assist number 30 on the season for Chris Kavanaugh, just the second ever Fighting Irish player to have a 30-goal, 30-assist season in one spring. 3 unanswered for the Irish. Largest lead on the day, important possession now for UAlbany. Great Danes, to this point, nearly 7 minutes into the second, have not attempted a shot on Entenmann in this quarter. Silas Richmond has seen a lot of Chris Conlon in this first half. The preferred matchup for the Irish defender. Bad angle bid, slugged wide by Jackson Palem. Bringing it back in off the end line, it's Parker Emmett as Palem gets repositioned. Speed dodge right to the cage, score! With multiple flags down, Emmett converts without his lid.
Parker Emmett with the kamikaze take to the cage.
This will be under review for head neck contact when we return. Notre Dame has the 4-1 advantage with 7:41 to go in the opening half. Carter Parlett may be in a little bit of hot water here.
Yeah, the refs right now discussing how serious an infraction with that blow to the head as Emmett takes it to the cage. To me, that's pretty clear evidence. Leads with a cross check to the head. It's going to be some form of unreleasable penalty for sure. My guess is it could be upwards of 3 minutes.
Video review in this NCAA tournament-wide. The officials with multiple flags down in the aftermath. Let's listen in. Kevin Corrigan, the head coach for Notre Dame, giving the officials an earful. Matt, what you presumed comes through.
Yeah, it's a tough play, right? Emmett's kind of fallen to the ground. Parlett's leading, but he does get his hands up high, direct contact. At no point does shoulder hit anywhere in the body first. Hands to head first, right there, helmet to helmet almost, actually. And so, look, I think it's a tough rule. I think unreleasable penalties of 3 minutes can change a game. But they're trying to protect the players, and by the rules, that's the right call in my opinion. If ever a penalty deserved 3-minute unreleasable, that was one.
Unreleasable full-time serve, 3 minutes of extra man for UAlbany. On the season, the Great Danes 29% effective. A violation against Regan Enders, though, gives possession of the ball to the Irish.
If you're Regan Enders, that's the one thing you cannot do on that face-off is move early. You have a 3-on-2 advantage. Make it a scrum. Make Will Lynch pick it up and then double down on him. Now Notre Dame will be able to
spread the field and play keep away.
All right, they're going to be able to work this shot clock. Again, if I'm them, if I'm Notre Dame, I'm not doing any offense here until about 15 seconds in the shot clock.
At the bottom of the screen, on the top of the scoreboard, you see the man-up time remaining.
And maybe what you do here, right? Like, maybe you don't even take a shot because you want to do your substitution to get your man-down defense on the field and not allow the Great Danes anything in transition and just get set up defensively.
That violation off the draw neutralized the first minute plus of that 3-minute violation. Dobson, 14 seconds to shoot. Chris Kavanaugh against Max Neeson. Chris Kavanaugh gets away from the pressure. Faison off the roll dodge. Double team waiting for him. Not able to split it. Shot clock violation against Notre Dame. That was the plan all along. Now UAlbany in the purple settles in for what remains of the 3-minute, which is now 90 seconds and then less, on extra man. And a timeout has been called. Head coach Scott Marr taking the timeout for UAlbany. Folks, just letting you know, NCAA men's lacrosse coverage continuing next weekend. Of course, you know the quarterfinals are upon us next weekend. The action begins Saturday, May 18th, 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. For more information on the 2024 Men's Lacrosse Championship, visit NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. On this terrific weather day, Mother's Day in South Bend, fans are soaking up the sun, watching Notre Dame take the 4-2 lead over the Great Danes. Joe Beninati, Matt Ward with you from Arlada Stadium. This season, with a mark of 12-1, the Irish have obviously treated their fans to a good time game after game.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, and they're just, look, no other team in the country has an offense and a defense both in the top 10. Right? They can just beat you in so many different ways. For
UAlbany, it's the Great Danes' 10th NCAA tournament appearance, their first since 2018 when they were knocked out by Yale in the NCAA semis. Goals today from Wimmer and Emmett on the board for the team in purple. When play resumes, 81 seconds of extra man time for Scott Marr's troops. Two coaches incredibly immersed in their programs and in their communities. 24 seasons as the head coach for Scott Marr, 36 for Kevin Corrigan here in South Bend.
And both getting better at their craft, adjusting and adapting their games.
Each of them, Marr and Corrigan, 7 times as Coach of the Year in their respective conferences. Extra man chance for the Great Danes. Richmond is at the top. Palem here on the wing. Change the formation. Looking for a crease. Any passing lane. Richmond. Feed down low. Slam dunk. Score! Amos Whitcomb.
Just nice exterior ball movement for the Great Danes. It all starts here too, right? You're gonna get a skip pass to Richmond, and it actually looks like he's about to take a shot, and then gets the sticks to come down from the Notre Dame defense, and throws it down to Whitcomb, who gets the third on the board for the Great Danes.
Famous Amos didn't have a point against Sacred Heart in the opening round. He's got tallies in 3 of his last 5 contests. That extra man put away on Entenmann makes this a 4-3 game. Man up continues for the Great Danes. This is one of those all-you-can-eat situations, the 3-minute unreleasable. Officials getting things sorted out coming over to the timekeeper's table.
Making sure they know how much time is left on the man up. But here again, just Silas Richmond does a nice job, right? We can take a look at the shot clock. Ball's in the back of the cage.
Should have stopped at 5:40.
Yeah. It's about 3 seconds. Now again, typically not a big deal, but now with the man advantage,
right,
those 3 seconds matter. And so good on the officials to take the time here and make sure we get this right.
We were 1-1 late in the opening quarter. Taylor gave Notre Dame the 2-1 advantage. It started a 3-goal spree for the Fighting Irish fans. Great Danes with the last 2 markers on the board. Landon Whitney seems very much under control, and this his first ever experience against Notre Dame at Arlotta Stadium. Carter Parlett still serving another 55 seconds. Terrific crowd. Full day of NCAA tournament lacrosse here in South Bend. Unhappy Irish faithful in the opener, the women's team falling 15-14. Michigan prevailing. Catherine Merrifield had 4 in that one. Lynch gets the draw. More man-down penalty killing ragtime for Ben Ramsey. Playing catch with Lynch. Time continues to tick. Shorthanded Irish for another 36 seconds.
And right there, Notre Dame steps offside. Big mistake in the clearing game.
See how quickly the UAlbany squad can get settled for extra man. Doherty sharing it with Hogg. From the wing, this buzz bomb hits pay dirt. Danny Kesselring ties it up at 4.
Uncharacteristic mistakes from the Fighting Irish really throughout the first half. Notre Dame steps offside. Notre Dame gets another man up possession. And just simple ball movement. And Kesselring rings the post to knot this game at 4. And they are still man up, which is big on this face-off. While Lynch has been dominating, they do get a 3-on-2 advantage here to try to get another possession.
Graphic shows you 3 unanswered for UAlbany. Lynch 6-3 to this point at the face-off dot. Bowled over there, the loose ball push gives possession to Notre Dame. 4:47 separating us from halftime here in South Bend. Stay with us between quarters 2 and 3. We'll share a look at some of the potential under-the-radar performers who may see stardom in this tournament before it's done. Same for the cherished past tournament memories of Paul Carcaterra and Charlotte North. Dobson from the angle. No problems for Landon Whitney. Neeson swivels away from the ride of Chris Kavanaugh and will clear. Scott Marr said his squad started the season, what, 0-4? They've won 10 of their last 13. They feel like they can play at this level. They are proving it to this point in the first 30 minutes.
They're just competing too, right? Like skill-wise, on the ground balls, man up, like all the little execution things you need to make.
Pfeiffer sent it wide. Reload for the Great Danes. Richmond had his pocket picked there by Conlon. Conlon, though, flexed it right back, and Richmond says, thank you, let's chill. Pfeiffer inverted against Buckner. Pfeiffer, snapshot, rejected there by Entenmann. So quick to get that cross down to the goal line. and keep it a 4-4 game. Liam's 5th stop of the half. Nick Harris waiting for Will Angrick. Angrick has markers in 3 of his last 4. Buzenkill sharing with Riley Gray. Gray's on the board today. Back behind to Chris Kavanaugh. Off the pick. Fighting Irish playing the 2-man game. Chris Kavanaugh going again against Finger. He snapped it high.
But I like that take from Kavanaugh. Drops the stick, brings it up high. He had Landon Whitney guessing low and just rings it off the post.
Pat Kavanaugh has it now, the ACC Offensive Player of the Year. Such a good distributor of the ball. Shot clock's at 23. We have 2:20 to go in the half. Gray getting downhill off the swim. Here comes the double. That pass to the inside, deflected and turned over. Solid work again at the defensive end. That was Cade Galco for the Great Danes.
This game has been incredibly even, right? And credit UAlbany for coming in with a mindset that they're going to compete, the belief that they can make what would be the greatest upset in college lacrosse history.
Hogg fires. Entenmann shuffled over neatly and took that one off of his chest protector. Just the 4th ever meeting between these two schools, a couple of them in the NCAA tournaments past, 2014 and 15. The meeting in 2014, 10 years ago, extraordinary, into overtime, a phenomenal rally for the Irish. Faison cruising ahead, latter stages of this opening half. UAlbany has the last 3 on the board. Timeout taken by the Irish. In a 4-4 game, Matt, all of a sudden, UAlbany found its offensive stroke.
Yeah, here in the 2nd quarter, it starts with Emmett's goal here, and you see the high hit. 3 minutes unreleasable, and the Great Danes make the Fighting Irish pay, netting 2 goals in that 3 minutes. The bench believes. Coach Marr crediting his freshman goalie, Whitney, who's been playing a great game thus far.
Scott compares this team, Matt, to the 2013 team when Blaze Reardon was then a freshman goalkeeper. Reardon, who's gone on to professional fame.
And Blaze Reardon, I would think most people consider the best goalie in the world right now. Pretty favorable comparison. And again, Whitney has that kind of like it factor and that wow factor where he can just make some saves on the defensive end that just create energy. Not many goalies can do that, right? There's rock solid goalies who make the meat and potatoes saves, but very few who can make the electric saves. And Whitney, right here as he runs back towards his cage, great things ahead of him.
Our bookkeepers keeping tabs on how both Whitney and Reardon fared in their freshman years.
Pretty similar. Again, Whitney, sub 50%. Don't let that fool you. He sees a lot of rubber, especially early on in the year. That transition from high school to college takes a little while, but he has found his rhythm, and most importantly, he is playing his best game right now.
Shout out of thanks to all the men and women in our technical crew. This 2024 NCAA Division I Men's Lacrosse Championship on ESPN. Joe and Matt with you. Tail end of this opening half. 57 seconds remain in quarter 2. The ball starts in the cross of Devin McLean. Faison working to the outside. This will get away from Dobson on the sidelines. It's a turnover. Darian LaPietro works it ahead. Timeout taken by UAlbany. At one point, the Danes were down 4-1. They have the last 3 goals of this second quarter, compliments of Emmett, Whitcomb, and Kesselring. And the top-seeded defending champion Irish are in a good fight in this first-round game. Thinking back to 2014, it seems like it was just yesterday. It's 10 years ago. This was an incredible game.
Yeah, this is a game where, again, you had some of the best talent in the world with the Thompson brothers, Lyle Thompson, his brother Miles Thompson with the outside shot. A back-and-forth affair. Notre Dame pushing in transition. And right here, Sergio Perkovic gets one in the back of the cage, and this is the beginning of Notre Dame lacrosse right there. Matt Cavanaugh with the effort play, saves possession in overtime, sends the Fighting Irish to championship weekend.
Jubilation. Notre Dame, 7 of the last 8 goals in that one. Kevin Corrigan said it was just a sign that our guys would never, ever say die. Tournament history, they would play again the following year. Sergio Perkovic helping the Irish to prevail in 2015. That game in Denver, that was a UAlbany squad that won 16 times, set all sorts of NCAA goal-scoring records in the process. And they meet now in 2024, and UAlbany has the ball with 39 seconds to go in the half. Light will press way out. Pfeiffer wants it against Parlett. Going to take Parlett back behind the cage on the invert. Time ticks down to 20. Pfeiffer, roll dodge, looking to the interior. 10 seconds left. Nice pass inside, score! Ryan Doherty.
Coming out of the timeout. Around 40 seconds left in the half. Just a nice patient set. Right here, you're gonna see the behind the back pass to Doherty, Silas Richmond. I mean, the accuracy of that pass, unbelievable. His eyes are up rather than change hands, which takes more time. Flips the picture perfect backdoor cut from the American East Rookie of the Year.
Pretty smooth in Supermo. Lynch wins the last draw of the half. Ramsey on the swim. Feeds for Chris Cavanaugh to fire. He scores! Does it count? The officials at field level say good goal. A buzzer beater. UAlbany netminder Landon Whitney with a different opinion. The challenge flag has been thrown already by UAlbany head coach Scott Marr. Let's see it right off the draw from Will Lynch.
Oh. To me, that looks like the ball is in Cavanaugh's stick as he releases it. My guess is this will be taken off the board. Awfully close. You can see right here, the clock is at.
It's got to be out of the cross at zero. It's not. So close. The officials having a peek in video review after the challenge. The call on the field was good goal for Chris Cavanaugh. As the Great Danes make their way to the dressing room, it'll be just the 3rd time all season that Notre Dame has trailed at the half. Trailed against Georgetown, trailed against Virginia. They trail UAlbany at the break. as well as new names stepping into the spotlight. With more, here's Paul Carcaterra and Charlotte North. Where Notre Dame is hosting UAlbany in this NCAA first-round matchup. Throughout this tournament, you'll see established stars as well as new names stepping into the spotlight. With more, here's Paul Carcaterra and Charlotte North.
There's a lot of superstars in the game of lacrosse right now, both the men's and the women's side. Who's flying under the radar for you?
In the women's game, Loyola junior midfielder Chase Boyle. I think she is a throwback in terms of playing all over the field. She's 5'10", so her physical presence is real. She's got incredible feet. She runs the field with great speed. This is a player that checks basically every box as a midfielder. She takes about 15 draw controls per game. She's unbelievable on loose balls. She can cause turnovers, and she's the Greyhounds' leading goal scorer. So that tells you, you want a player that plays defense, wins possessions at the draw control, can create a turnover, can score goals. When you watch her dodge too, the way that she uses her body and the way that she gets underneath defenders. And she has some creativity in her game too. And she's playing for Jen Adams, one of the best players of all time, who played at Maryland, has been coaching at Loyola for a while. I feel like she empowers Chase Boyle. How about you, men's front?
I'm going with Jake Piscino, Albany LSM. I think he's an absolute game wrecker all over the field, but to me, he reminds me of Ethan Rawl for the Boston Cannons in the PLL. He's all over the field. He'll come up with ground balls everywhere. He'll throw insane checks over the head on attackers, and he's also a threat in transition to score. He leads the country in caused turnovers. He throws no-look dimes.
Yes.
He can shoot from distance. He has the hands of an attacker, but he's a matchup nightmare on the defensive end, and I think he comes up with just about every scrum he could. So I've got my eyes on him, and I love watching him play.
He's 5'8", but the way that he leaves his feet to get that over-the-head check is absolutely nasty. I love both of these players, and I know we would both love to have them on our teams.
Absolutely.
In South Bend, Notre Dame and UAlbany are cooling off in this NCAA tournament first-round game. The next few weeks on the men's and women's side will create new lifelong memories, joining a list of cherished times from the past with Paul Carcaterra and Charlotte North.
Memorial Day weekend is where dreams come true. You've watched decades and decades of Final Four weekends.
I'm old.
What's your favorite memory?
I have to go way back. 1989, I get in a car with my best friend Rob Cavitt. We head down to College Park, Syracuse against Johns Hopkins. It's #1 versus #2. It's like the Yankees and the Red Sox for college lacrosse. Like two rival programs that have just performed at a completely different level at that point than everyone else in college lacrosse. And the game had so many little subplots. It had the defense of Johns Hopkins with Quint Kesenick in goal and Dave Petramala and Billy Dwan on defense. It was the offense of Syracuse. Gary and Paul Gate, John Zilberti, Tom Maricek, the greatest offense of all time. So it was strength on strength. It was North versus South. It had a little bit of everything. And when I was watching as a kid, I was 14 at the time, only in 8th grade, it was at that moment in time where I said to myself, I have to be part of this. Some way, some shape, I have to be part of this game. And from that moment, it just became so much a part of me wanting to come to Syracuse.
2014 is the year it changed for me. I watched the Duke men's team go back-to-back. Jordan Wolf, phenomenal player who led them there. But that inspired me to get to championship weekend in 2016, Philadelphia, when Kayla Trainer and the Syracuse Orange were playing the University of Maryland and Taylor Cummings, two generational type players who have forever changed this game and the landscape of the women's game. But for me, it was getting to see them play in person and getting to see the crowd that they brought in that day and all the young girls who have played youth lacrosse, who came in their jerseys, and they were there to watch them play. And they put on a show all Final Four weekend. But to see that game live and to see two girls that I aspired to be, I was inspired by, I was just drawn into the way that they played and the leadership they displayed. Both of them had phenomenal years. Taylor Cummings ended up winning the Tourathon that year. Kayla was a finalist. But both left the game of college lacrosse in a better place, and they're still doing that to this day. So to get to see them play live in person is something I will never forget. It's like seeing the Beatles perform.
Yeah.
It's seriously something I'll never forget, and that's a memory I'll cherish forever. But to see the crowd that they brought to Philadelphia that day was absolutely unbelievable.
Generational talents fuel future stars, and they did that for you.
Absolutely.
A sun-kissed Mother's Day in South Bend. UAlbany coming from the Capital District region of New York all the way out to Indiana and putting the top seeds in a bit of a hole. 5-4 Great Danes at the halftime break. Joe Beninati and Matt Ward with you. Matt's a former Tewaaraton Award winner. Matt, when you look at this opening 30 minutes of play, what was off for Notre Dame?
Yeah, look, this is a team that played its best lacrosse just a week ago. But in that first half, they had 13 shots. They're used to having 40 plus. Yeah. And 11 turnovers when they averaged 14. So that was not who they were all season. Credit the Great Danes for applying a lot of pressure and making their life hard. But Notre Dame needs to take a deep breath, remember who they are, and come out and play a different second half.
First half highlights are going to show you that indeed the Irish were bitten by the turnover bug.
And what's so surprising about so many of these turnovers, just unforced error after error. Right, Notre Dame's typically the team that applies a lot of pressure on you, and you're the one with the significant amount of turnovers. But here, Jake Piscino, obviously a magic stick, but again, this was the norm for these turnovers, just simple lack of focus.
UAlbany really gets on a nice run in the second quarter.
Yeah, and it all starts with the great individual hard-nosed dodge by Emmett, who draws the 3-minute unreleasable, and then the man-up unit cashes in 2 goals. They just played a phenomenal second quarter, and then Silas Richmond to Doherty, the behind the back to the backdoor cut. What a momentum play this would have been. Chris Kavanaugh puts one in the back of the cage. You slow the clock down. The ball was in his stick before the horn sounded.
Anything jump out at you when we look at the first half statistics?
Yeah, look, it's the part that if you told me that Notre Dame won 8 of 11 faceoffs and that they'd be losing, I wouldn't believe you, right? But it's so many of those turnovers that they had that ultimately gave Notre Dame the trouble that they experienced.
The Irish, under Kevin Corrigan's direction, averaging 16 goals per game. The last time as the #1 seed, Notre Dame, back in 2015, in the first round, trailed the Tigers of Towson, 6-5 at the halftime break. Towson and Syracuse coming up once we are through. Wall-to-wall lacrosse these past 2 days. 10 hours of action unfolding in the NCAA tournament first round. First possession of quarter 3 belongs to Finger and the Great Danes. Connor Finger, 23 in the purple. Ben Wimmer had a strike in the opening half. Works on the first midfield with Alex Pfeiffer and Graydon Hogg. Pfeiffer measured on the outside by Ramsey, an all-conference performer. Hogg fenced in there by Harris. Hogg on the go. Leans in from the bad angle, missed it to the far side on Entenmann. It'll stay UAlbany possession. Brought in off the end line by the sophomore Alex Pfeiffer, the 5th leading point scorer for the Great Danes. Motors in, gets topside, bluffs the feed. Wimmer working from X, off the roll dodge. Here comes the help from Conlon. Pfeiffer wrapped up, forced away rudely by Ramsey, as this is a shot clock violation against UAlbany.
Great defensive stand to start the second half for the Fighting Irish.
Liam Entenmann, Tewaaraton Award finalist. Highly decorated is an understatement for the Irish keeper. Notre Dame looks to equalize this trip. Devin McLean already with 2 goals in the opening 30 minutes. Faison picked up on the outside by Will Pepe. Second team All-America Conference long stick midfielder. Pat Cavanaugh off the split. Takes it back behind. Working against Pacino. UAlbany's best defender. Chris Cavanaugh's drive is blocked. It rattled around off of Neeson. It'll bound out of play. It'll stay Irish ball. Landon Whitney coordinating his defense. The freshman netminder, Scott Moore, says this guy gives us a chance in every game. Pat Cavanaugh bounced off a hit. So often he likes that contact to create his next move. Faison. Skipping on through on one hop. Chris Cavanaugh. Bad angle. Stopped by Whitney. Rebound down. Landon comes racing out of the cage. He's got it for the Great Danes. He gets run over. Off this wild scramble, it's another 6-on-6 for the Irish.
I think the Irish may have gotten away with a push there on Whitney, who had possession of the ball.
Reset shot clock. Pat Cavanaugh has his defender hung up. The Irish will work a cutting game, trying to create a passing lane for him. Pacino bringing a hatchet there on Pat Cavanaugh, coolly away from 88's advances in the purple. To brother Chris. Against Neeson. Fires, he scores!
Chris Cavanaugh. In an offensive possession I thought maybe had a little too much standing around for the Fighting Irish. Gets the ball in a prime position to attack the cage. And let's just look at this release on the run. Low to high, far post. Just absolutely filthy individual effort.
Matt, you shot up a storm when you were playing collegiately. How strong do you have to be to do that? Strong in the wrists.
Yeah, look, there's very few people on the run that can change planes low to high. Most people on the run are taken over the top, driving it to the far low post. Chris Cavanaugh, one of the most skilled players from a release perspective on the run in the country.
That elevator shot gets him on the board. He scored in all 14 games this season. Chris Cavanaugh with the ball in his cross now. Brand new at 5, are we? First round NCAA tournament action on ESPNU. Buzenkel waiting for Gray and Angrick, the second midfield unit for the Fighting Irish. Matt, it's a point you made time after time, just how deep this Notre Dame team is. They can wear you down.
Yeah, they just keep coming after you.
From the angle, swing it back behind, score on the wrap! Buzenkel would not be denied.
Notre Dame coming out, guns a-blazing here in the third quarter. Again, this second midfield, quite frankly, has been more effective than their first midfield in this game. The belief that they have, and again here it's the switch and Cavanaugh gets it to the X. Buzenkel comes around to his offhand. And let's look at this release to the far post.
Short stick defensive midfielder there, 32 in the purple. Luke Grove just couldn't get there in the nick of time. Buzenkel provides for Notre Dame faithful. Goals in 4 straight, goals in 6 of his last 7. He had one tally in the win over Duke, that impressive win in the ACC final. Lynch moved early, it's UAlbany ball. Notre Dame's first lead since a McLean marker gave them the 4-1 advantage in the second. Jackson Palem, versatile player. Scott Moore was saying in high school, Palem played just about every position other than goalie. Parker Emmett on the run. Feed for Doherty. Doherty measured by Sean Light. Light's a guy who's helped to blank some of the very best attackmen all season long. Kesselring attempting to get away from Will Donovan. Stuck to him like glue. Kesselring going to the goal. That one rattles around and out. Entenmann gets the handoff from Napolitano. Parlett in the clearing game. McLean there to help out. Streaking across the midline. Notre Dame on top by 1. McLean going to the goal. He scores! The run continues. Devin McLean has another hat trick.
Devin McLean came out of the substitution box on the clear. Right here, gets to the sideline. LaPietro, couple pushes in the back, and then there's the separation in the burst. And I think he surprised Whitney by how early he released that shot near post. I think Whitney thought he was going to take a couple extra steps. The nice composure in the finish. Notre Dame on a run. 3 straight goals.
Ohio State and Cornell, the only teams to not allow Devin McLean onto the board. Early offense provided for the Irish on their last 3 markers. Another hat trick for McLean. That's 6 of those this season. 11 multi-goal games. The lead for the Irish in the white jerseys back up to 2. Now let's see the composure for UAlbany. They took a punch from Notre Dame early. They responded. They've been just given another whack. Pfeiffer on the move. Gets inside underneath. He bounced it wide. Made a pretty move to get away from Nick Harris.
And Notre Dame's usually a team on those slides where they are coming early on that inside roll to cause a double team. Pfeiffer had the opportunity.
The officials today, Blaisdell, Doyle, and Harriman in conversation. Kevin Corrigan, the head coach for Notre Dame, said, you know what, we can play better.
And I think they reset the shot clock, but I don't think this was actually a save. Misses the cage, so they're gonna reset this down to 42 seconds.
Off of the brilliant performance in the ACC tournament, Kevin Corrigan said, yeah, we can be better. We can reduce the number of turnovers. Turnovers plagued them in the opening half. Richmond under wraps from Conlon most of the day. This outside drive from Doherty was blocked. Settles into the cross of Liam Entenmann. Entenmann playing his final game at Arlada. Harris brings it along. Trail check there. Caught from surprise by Wimmer. UAlbany regains possession. Clearing time for Cade Galco. He finds Neeson at the midline. UAlbany at 10-7. Notre Dame 12-1, top seeded in the tournament. UAlbany, 12-time regular season champ in the America East. The America East tournament champions, they've won that 10 times since 2002. Giving Notre Dame all it can handle to this point. Midway in the 3rd quarter.
Albany had its most success early attacking against the short stick D-middies of Notre Dame.
Circle it up, Whitcomb for Emmett. Buckner peeks out. Ramsey to defend. Palem finding Emmett once more. Redodge. That pass crossed up his target. Gets away from Whitcomb. Napolitano will run for the Irish. Feed it down low, wide open. Pat Cavanaugh. He scores.
The Fighting Irish finding their momentum here in the 3rd quarter from defense to offense. Pat Cavanaugh left wide open on the doorstep. Down 5-4 at half. The Fighting Irish now leading 8-5 against the Albany Great Danes.
Notre Dame fans are thrilled. They've scored on their last 4 shots, in fact, to regain the lead against UAlbany. Matt, this is a Great Danes team that has struggled in third quarters throughout the campaign.
Oftentimes when you're playing teams that may have a little bit more athleticism, a little more depth, it's hard to put together a full 4 quarters. And for the Danes, the third quarter has been their weakness, right? You can see games where they're very competitive against good teams, undone by pretty significant scoring differential in there in the third quarter. And right now, Notre Dame continuing that trend, 4-0 here in the third quarter.
UAlbany, best I can tell, has lost its last 12 games against top 20 ranked opponents. The last time they faced a #1 ranked team was at Maryland in March of 2022, and the Terps were absolutely no fun for anybody that year. 8-5 Notre Dame. Pat Cavanaugh, the last man to strike.
And happy Mother's Days to all the moms out there, to my wife, Caitlin. Want to let you know number 4 is going to be a girl.
Really?
It is, just found out.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
You were sharing highlights of your son earlier off of your phone. I'm impressed. It won't take long. Pfeiffer on the move. Way out there to challenge. Quickly there was Bergmaster. This is Graydon Hogg. Some shake against Parlett. Gets inside. He scores! Slick finish from Graydon Hogg.
Graydon Hogg gets his 27th goal in the season. Albany has had their best opportunities dodging the short sticks. Just fearless to the center of the cage. Hogg does a nice job, takes the punishment from Ben Ramsey, number 24, but gets a critical goal for this Great Danes team.
Scott Mars, face-off specialist. Regan Enders has done a decent job now at the face-off dot. He gets another one. He's won 5 of the last 6 as the ground ball is claimed by Jacob Smith. So the Hogg tally puts an end to the 4-goal run for Notre Dame, makes it 8-6. Graydon Hogg, who hails from north of the border, Oshawa, Ontario, Canada to be specific. My gosh, Matt, how many good players has the Hill Academy produced?
All of them. If you're on that roster, you're playing big-time lacrosse somewhere. Brody Merrill's done an amazing job building that program.
Parker Emmett and the purple-clad Great Danes of UAlbany. Pfeiffer, he'll pitch it back behind the goal. Ryan Doherty in a terrific matchup, freshman against freshman here with Sean Light.
This Great Danes team will not go away.
Silas Richmond looks over the top, down low. A snapshot that was fended off. Entenmann sells out. Great hustle to the end line on a shot closest to the ball. Where and when it leaves the field, gets possession, turn it over to Notre Dame.
Against Liam Entenmann, the ball has to go to the top portion of the cage, particularly as you get closer to goal line extended. He is always going down low in that. It's just a more predictable shot and release point. So if you're going to drop your stick against the best goalie in the country, you have to make sure to change planes.
Everyone we talk to, coaches, players, they say of Liam, never satisfied, never content, always trying to get better at his craft. He's pretty darn good. Notre Dame will slow tempo here. Chris Cavanaugh, a long way from the cooker. Peeking in against LaPietro. Snapshot, a whistler from McLean that's fought off.
Way to use your head, young goalminder.
Off the headgear of the netminder Landon Whitney. Lights haven't been too bright for him. He's played well. Holding high-powered Notre Dame to half its per-game average to this point. Nice look inside. Taylor on the finish.
Pat Cavanaugh for my money, the best touch passer in college lacrosse. Driving to his left hand, which isn't his strong hand. Finds Taylor cutting. And again, let's look at the subtle deception of Taylor inside. Right here, he drops his head. He lowers his head and shoots to the top portion of the cage. He gets Whitney dropping his hands. And we're gonna see it right here. Look at this little head motion, right? He's looking down to the ground, buries at the top portion of the cage. Gets the 5th goal of the quarter for the Fighting Irish.
All it takes, that little moment of deception. Taylor rings up his 2nd on the day. 2nd assist for Pat Cavanaugh. He has 8 3-assist games or more in this season. The lead grows to 3 for Notre Dame. Parlett in an unsettled situation, heading towards the cage.
And what a play by Will Lynch, the face-off man for Notre Dame. That was pure hustle and effort to win that ground ball and shoot it back towards the midfield for them to get another possession.
Will Lynch, all-ACC tournament team as well. An embarrassment of riches for this Notre Dame squad. Well deserving of a #1 seed in the tournament. Winners of 10 straight. Riley Gray on the go, hesitates, working it against Tyler Shook. Scott Marr can go 5 deep at short stick defensive midfield. Gray's inverted against Shook. Long strider, changes his pace, feeds it inside. That was a tough catch. It's off the defender and right to the netminder, Whitney, with some interfering going on in front. It'll be UAlbany ball. Time's a wasting, less than 3 minutes to go in quarter 3. Graydon Hogg, the last man on the board for the Great Danes, skipping into the attack territory. UAlbany wanted an offside call. They're going to get it. Soon to go extra man are the Great Danes. They converted a couple of times while Parlett was in there on a 3-minute unreleasable in the 2nd quarter.
With Jake Taylor in the ride, loses spatial awareness of where he was towards the midline and had 1 foot step over. The officials are right there to throw the flag.
Scott Marr continues to plead his case. They'll get the 30-second EMO, will UAlbany. A chance to draw within 2 of Kevin Corrigan's Irish. Mandy Merritt, the athletic trainer for Notre Dame, giving some assistance on the sidelines. Liam Entenmann prepared to quarterback this shorthanded situation. Great Danes get right into it. Whitney, or rather, I should say, Doherty from the top. Doherty closing, lets this one crank. It's deflected off of an Irish defender. Looked like it hit Ramsey in front. Ball down. First time scoop for Ryan Doherty.
There's been a number of shots from the outside deflected by the defenseman in the middle of the field.
At this time of the year, everybody helps out.
I never did, I was ducking.
Defense is paramount. You weren't on the defensive end. You didn't have anything to worry about there. You were the one doing all the flamethrowing. Ryan Doherty off the question mark against Parlett. Change it for Whitcomb. He's with Light. Richmond getting to the inside, the top point producer for the Great Danes. Off the flip to Hogg. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Hogg wants his left there. Great defense from the Irish. Coming over to make the steal, it's Chris Conlon. He'll run.
Notre Dame defensively has done a nice job speeding up this Albany defense, or excuse me, attack, as they push in transition.
Pat Cavanaugh will calm things down in the final minute of the 3rd quarter. UAlbany had the 5-4 lead at the halftime break, if you're just tuning in with us. It triggered a Fighting Irish goal-scoring eruption of 4 straight. Taylor has made it 9-6. Fisher Finley working below goal line extended. Darian LaPietra with him. Final possession of the quarter belongs to Notre Dame if they choose. Finley around the pick set by Chris Kavanaugh. Chris Kavanaugh turns, scoops, shut down there. The netminder off of his line. Landon Whitney with another stop. 2 seconds to play. This will be fired to the interior. Sam Stratton showing his physical presence as we have played 3 at Arlotta Stadium in South Bend with the top seeds on top by 3. Stay right there with us on ESPN. Notre Dame and UAlbany. Punch, counter punch with 15 minutes to go in regulation. For a better weather day this Mother's Day in South Bend, Notre Dame has the advantage with 15 minutes to go in regulation time. Joe Beninati, Matt Ward with you. And Matt, in that third quarter, the Irish refound their offensive touch and rallied back to grab the lead.
Yeah, look, this is a team that has a lot of senior leadership, probably the best leaders in the country if you really think about the Kavanaughs and Entman and Cage. And they just took a deep breath and just made plays. I mean, Chris Kavanaugh started with that first shot and goal, gets the assist there. McLean in transition. Again, from defense to offense, just found their groove and what they've done all season long. And right there, just sleeping on the defensive end. If you're UAlbany, you can't leave Pat Kavanaugh wide open on the crease, but credit the Fighting Irish, credit Coach Corrigan and staff for not panicking at halftime, talking to his team, reminding them who they are and what they've done year to date.
Kevin Corrigan said, you know what, we're a simple team, not complicated. It's not like they're gonna drag out 8 different game plans. And they do what they do especially well and ask you to counter it. UAlbany, unfazed at the outset, has acquitted itself nicely through the first 45 minutes. It's a 3-goal game into the 4th. First touch offensively belongs to the Irish. In white, a 5-1 advantage for Notre Dame in the third quarter when you slice it up, putting the game back in their favor. Dobson on the wing. This drive was another rip from Faison that stings the corner.
Notre Dame's had success in this game with this offensive formation. Dobson, who's been guarded by a short stick all game long, initiating most of their offense, sweeping to his left hand. Earlier it was McLean who stepped off and found space. This time, Faison just unloading overhand high-to-high heat. Near side. Gets the Irish their 10th of the day.
Faison with goals in 5 of his last 6. It's a 10-6 advantage. Dobson gets another helper. It's the first time that Notre Dame has won the ACC regular season title and the ACC tourney. They come flying in on a 10-game win streak. Lynch back at the dot with Regan Enders. Lynch fighting for the ground ball. Great hustle to scoop it and keep it alive for Notre Dame. This is the best shooting percentage team in the nation. Fighting Irish better than 37% effective. Heating up in the second half.
They've definitely tilted the field in their favor in terms of times of possession. Most of that a function of them not turning the ball over at the clip they were early on in this game.
McLean, already a hat-trick performer, gets the double team effort. Gets away from Max Neeson. Shares the rock with Pat Cavanaugh. Over the top to brother Chris. Faison on the go, wants to get downhill. Wide open look. Chris Cavanaugh off the hitch. Well stopped there on the outside by Landon Whitney.
What a save from Whitney. Cavanaugh does have a tendency to kind of pepper the ball to the top portion of the cage. Clearly hard to see the ground ball there.
Good ride, strong ride. Forces the turnover for Notre Dame. How many times have you seen it done by 50 in the white? That type of effort drawing a huge ovation as the Irish will settle in again to try and crack Landon Whitney, the freshman keeper for UAlbany. Whitney showed up at a prospects camp a couple of years in advance of signing on with the Great Danes. Greatly impressed Scott Marr and the coaching staff with his communication skills. This is a howitzer from McLean. They are jumping for joy on the Notre Dame sideline. McLean has his 4th.
Dobson, his 3rd assist of the game. And again, as of most of the Irish offense starts in the riding game right here. Again, I think Albany, tough time seeing the ball here, loses it in the sun. Right, we're gonna see that pass. Just can't get possession, and then when it's a 50-50 ground ball, you're not gonna outwork the Cavanaugh brothers. Chris Cavanaugh gets that extra possession, and then Dobson initiates with his offhand, right hand, throws it to McLean. His 4th of the game, 3rd. Catch and release on the skip pass.
Former captain at Brown, Devin McLean, striking for Kevin Corrigan's side. It's the biggest lead of the day for Notre Dame at 11-6. McLean, who had the 4 tallies against Virginia in the ACC semis. Lynch starting to rule at the face-off dot. Another possession now for the top seeds. The winner of this game gets Georgetown in the quarterfinals at Hofstra. The Hoyas winning today over their former ECAC rivals, Penn State. They hadn't met since 2009. Georgetown, the only team to knock off Notre Dame in the regular season. It took overtime to do it here at Arlotta. Angrick over the top, split save Whitney, snapped out of the air by Galko. Galko again attacked there on the ride. It's going to cost Chris Kavanaugh a trip to the sin bin. Extra man soon to come. Piscino brings it along. The do-it-all defender for UAlbany. Great Danes in a 5-goal deficit. They'll go on extra man right now. The flag against Chris Kavanaugh.
It's a tough call, as Kavanaugh, I believe, was trying to engage in the chest, but he does rotate his back and he hits him in the back. It looks almost like they called a slash there. But again, that's a penalty for Coach Corrigan you live with, right? Because like this isn't your identity. You're out there to outwork the other team, right? So while that's going to result in a man up, it's the identity of your team, right? And this is going to be now 4.5 minutes of penalties for Notre Dame. Albany has done a nice job staying out of the penalty box, which, if you follow Notre Dame all year long, they operate at a level that college lacrosse has never seen on the man up.
Stunning extra man numbers for the Irish. If you followed UAlbany all season long, this is about the time for Silas Richmond, 15 in the purple, to emerge. Circle it up, get it started with Hogg. Richmond is straight away. Change the formation. Richmond off the hitch. Feeds and finds Palum with a rocket to the top shelf.
The third man-up goal of the game for the Great Danes. And again, if you're Notre Dame, that's a shot you give up. Make Palum be picture perfect in his accuracy and release, and he was. A nice job right here again. Silas Richmond draws the weight of the Notre Dame defense to the far post. Throws the pass over to Palum, who just puts it to the absolute perfect part of the cage. Liam Entenmann, nothing he can do on this one. Look, off hip side. Awesome shot.
Jackson Palum on the goal. Silas Richmond with his third assist today. He has not scored. Lynch gets control of the draw for the Irish, trying to calm things down now with a lead of 4. As Piscino is looking to go over the head. There's a timeout called and a chance for us to take a TV timeout. Get you back to South Bend in just a few moments. For more of this one, a first round, exciting matchup.
Down to 7. Shriver's gonna have to make something happen here. He shoots and scores! What?
Can't wait for PLL action to begin and kick off the month of June. PLL draftees in the game today. There are several.
Yeah, this game has got unbelievable amounts of talent. Liam Entman, Pat Cavanaugh, Jake Piscino, Eric Dobb. Like these are all going to be making rosters, playing. And again, Pat Cavanaugh, to me, I would have taken him #1 in the PLL draft.
He's thrilled to be playing with his brother Matt. We spoke with Kevin Corrigan, the Notre Dame head coach, and coach said Pat would rather play with Matt in professional ball than be the #1 pick. Thrilled to be a part of that side. Third midfield on the offensive end now for Notre Dame. That third midfield unit, Fisher, Finley, Bryce Walker, Jalen Seymour. Pat Cavanaugh provides the outlet, rolls against Galco. Gets away from the towering Will Pepe. To the alley comes Finley. Shot clock's at 33. Chris Cavanaugh jams on the brakes. Max Neeson doing the job defensively at that end, 44 in the purple. The feed inside, behind the back! Trickery from Taylor for the hat trick.
A lot of subtleness in the setup of this offensive play. Chris Cavanaugh is going to run off a pick. Right, here comes that pick, and now he's got a matchup against a short stick, and he knows now that he can be a patient feeder, right? Because the defenseman does not have the reach to engage his hands, and then you feed Taylor on the inside. No one better in the country when he gets the ball in a dangerous spot. And let's look at the accuracy of that behind the back to the far low portion of the cage.
So clever, Jake Taylor, 14 career tricks. Grad student from Denver, Colorado. Procedure here against Regan Enders, gives the ball to Notre Dame. The Irish in control now, on top by 5. Towson and Syracuse, the nightcap, closing out the weekend of first round games in the Sunday night nighttime slot against Towson, a Towson team that has won its last 9. On the go, Dobson here. Squeeze this, it'll get away from McLean. Faison there to cover up. Chris Cavanaugh on the go. This bouncer to the roof! Pat Cavanaugh hits pay dirt. Notre Dame making a fourth quarter kick.
Pat Cavanaugh with his 24th goal of the season. He averages almost 5 points a game for the Fighting Irish. Just a nice job here, steps up the field. UAlbany doesn't do a great job identifying him as unguarded, and then the nice high to low. Not his normal release. He's usually shooting the ball to the high portion of the cage, and he gets Whitney guessing.
Acknowledging the feeder. An UAlbany defense that's held opponents to single digits in 3 of their last 5. Not able to do that to Notre Dame today. 7 straight face-off wins for the Irish. One of those make it, take it type scenarios in the second half. Will Angrick has it. Missed all of last season with an injury. Back behind the cage for Riley Gray. He meanders towards the goal. Notre Dame's in no hurry now. Time clock is their ally, 8.5 to go. Piscino looking to create a turnover, 88 in the purple for UAlbany. Same can be said for the short stick D-mid, Darian LaPietro. This one sent wide of the goal. The Dane train coming in, Matt, had won 5 in a row, heating up at just the right time. It's LaPietro's dad that blasts out the Dane train horn at their home games. Angrick on the move, had that one snared by Whitney. Whitney fumbled it out of his cross, then he gets held. Possession will go to UAlbany. Connor Finger, first team All-America Conference, America East, as a short stick defensive midfielder, scored 3 times this year. UAlbany needs to stack some points together now.
Do it quickly. Will Lynch has kind of asserted himself here at the face-off X.
Has he ever? Jackson Palem, the last man to tally for UAlbany. Alex Pfeiffer's been held in check for the most part, coming off a 4+2 performance against Sacred Heart in the opening round. Silas Richmond fires and scores.
This great Dane team, beyond impressive for what they've done today, competing. And Silas Richmond, one of the most fun players to watch in the country. The sophomore just uses his body, right? Drops that shoulder. The key there is he never took one of his hands off his stick. He was engaged, a two-handed cradle, lowers the shoulder, creates the separation, and then he's able to get the shot off fast enough to beat Liam Entenmann.
Once again, Will Lynch has figured out Regan Enders at the face-off dot. Gets another possession for Notre Dame. Richmond on the board. Silas with goals in 17 of 18 games. The Great Danes have played a lot of lacrosse this season. You can see the face-off domination, bottom of the screen. Ball is back in the cross of Devin McLean. McLean, Dobson, and Faison, the first midfield unit out there. First time we've really seen Dobson uncork that left-handed heater wide of the goal.
And he's really become an initiator for them. And most of that is because he's seeing a short stick matchup, right? And with his size, he knows that he's going to be able to be patient and find passing lanes. And he's really developed that part of his game. It's been fun to watch.
Last time I checked, Dobson had 3 helpers on the day. Just past the top of the hour now, are we? Notre Dame in white has the 5-goal advantage. Ooh. Chris Kavanaugh took a whack in the midsection. Angles in on Neeson on a fadeaway shot that sails high and wide. Brother Pat will bring it back in off the sideline. Piscino on the job defensively. And doesn't he have an awful lot of responsibilities? Turn off the question mark, Pat Kavanaugh.
Just again, dodging, oftentimes about athleticism, but often about repetition and knowing how to play the position. So right there, Kavanaugh fakes the pick, and then the question mark. The step in, now step out, hands free. Slips it by Whitney and Cage near side. But it's that extra step away from Piscino that gets his hands free, and he can get enough torque and enough power to put the ball in the back of the net. Just an overall pretty dodge from the way he interacted with the pick to getting to the place of the field he wanted to be, and then the execution of the shot.
Finally, face-off control for UAlbany. The second hat trick of the season for Pat Kavanaugh. The other was against Duke. 4 + 3 = 7 in the regular season matchup with the Blue Devils. Chris and Pat have come to the table in the second half of this game in a major way. They were limited to 1 goal, 1 assist in the first 30 minutes. They've combined for 8 points in the second half. 5.5 away from the finish line now. Pfeiffer and the Great Danes need to get up and go. Against Ramsey. Spin it for Hogg. Up top, Palem. No shooting lane yet. Look away pass inside, goes through Richmond. Backed up by Pfeiffer. He's pushed to the outside by Light. Pfeiffer lost a glove there. This drive is yanked high by Ryan Doherty.
Albany, more often than not, should have lost possession there, playing without equipment.
Does Doherty remind you of Connor Fields, a former UAlbany great?
Certainly looks like him, body-wise, gait, lefty. Points-wise, pretty good too, right?
Here he comes. Picked up by Ramsey. Trying to get underneath from one knee. Yanked that shot high as we drift below 5 minutes to play in this first round action on ESPN. Towson and Syracuse to follow. Drew Carter and Ryan Boyle standing by on the call on that one. Irish get the ball back. Sean Light in the middle of the field. Getting some help on the clear. You got to advance before 20 seconds. Hogg put the ball down, unsettled. It belongs to Doherty. A take back for the Great Danes. Off this roll dodge, flex the pass inside. Doherty took a chop there from Harris as the whistles blare out. Timeout has been called by UAlbany. Folks, NCAA men's lacrosse coverage continuing next weekend. Quarterfinal play. The action begins Saturday. That's May 18th, 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. For more info on the 2024 Men's Lacrosse Championship, visit NCAA.com. That's your home for all 90 NCAA championships.
Notre Dame had to figure some things out in the second half. Will Lynch just absolutely asserting himself right there to me. The effort and the athleticism. He's a very impressive ground ball player. And then again, what I love about him is he can make adjustments as well as any person at the dot in the country. Notre Dame's tough to beat when they get possession after possession after possession, and Will Lynch doing his best to generate this 6-goal lead for the Fighting Irish.
Will Lynch right around 60% in the season. All ACC performer, won 15 of 21 in the ACC final against Duke. Always working on perfecting his craft on the sideline. That pipeline, Matt, from Chaminade High School. It pains me as a St. Anthony's alum to reference it, but Chaminade has provided some outstanding talent for Notre Dame.
St. Anthony's for the most part to Duke. Chaminade most part to Notre Dame.
Coach Corrigan's squad has the lead by 6 with exactly 4 minutes to go. Fourth all-time meeting between these two. 2 of those in the past, 2014-15. Incredible NCAA tournament games. Move this off a set piece, and it's a rocket. A drive from Ryan Doherty, keeping UAlbany in it.
How about that play design for UAlbany? Ryan Doherty, the freshman with his 36, but again, this is just amazing ball movement and spacing. Whitcomb with the assist. But Pfeiffer initiates that offense and a couple quick passes. And a perfect shot to get past Entenmann. The Great Dane's not going away.
Ryan Doherty, former high school hockey player, snaps home his third of the game, makes it a 5-goal lead for Notre Dame. But so effective has Lynch been, winning this one easily. That time they sent Pacino out there to take the draw. Sean Light bathed in sunlight as the shadows lengthen here at Arlada. Conlon will advance, scoop this across. Failure to advance against Notre Dame gets UAlbany the ball back. Precious little time remaining.
And UAlbany made the switch there to Pacino face off, not even to win the X, but in the ride,
right,
to create chaos in the middle of the field.
It has been such a lopsided battle of late for Lynch against Regan Enders that Coach Marr decided to just go with Pacino there right off the draw to try and put the ball down. 14-9 for Notre Dame. Let's have a look at the brackets. Towson and Syracuse coming up tonight. Lower bracket, quarterfinals are set. Johns Hopkins and Virginia. We've heard that a time or two. Maryland and Duke. We've heard that a time or two.
Yeah, Maryland, surprising, I think, a lot of people last night with how well they played, missing their best player in Urksa. He played, but sparingly, didn't start the attack, and they found some nice rhythm and really took it to a Princeton team that, you know, made a run through the Ivies that I thought was going to, quite frankly, I thought they were the favorite in that game, and Maryland took it to them.
Eric Spanos with 4 for the Terps, Jack Corus, Eric Molliver with hat tricks for the Terrapins. Johns Hopkins a winner earlier today. Virginia looked very, very solid against St. Joe's.
Yeah, I think all the teams played really well. I think Johns Hopkins probably had the toughest go against a very talented defensive team in Lehigh. Again, we mentioned it earlier that the committee looks to have gotten the seeding right based on how this has unfolded. I wish I could say my bracket looked the same. It does not. But these teams are going to provide an awesome weekend next week.
Hopkins snapped Lehigh's 6-game win streak with that win earlier today. Yesterday, we're talking about Virginia. How about Peyton Cormier? 8 times on the board to set the NCAA Division I men's lacrosse goal scoring record.
Yeah, he's had an amazing career, all-time leading scorer in college lacrosse. Doesn't oftentimes get the accolades at the national level, but not many better. And over their career, in fact, nobody better than what he's done in Charlottesville in terms of goals on the board.
Cormier had 8 yesterday. Schellenberger went 2 + 4 = 6. Final game for them at Klockner Stadium in Charlottesville. Great Danes getting set at the offensive end. Head coach Scott Marr relying so often on Merrick Thompson, his offensive coordinator. See what they've drawn up out of this timeout. Richmond has it in his cross, a pass that's low. Ben Wimmer chasing it down. Harris right there with him. Great effort by Harris, forces the turnover. Tremendous amount of hustle.
And speed. I mean, Harris shot out a cannon on those ground balls. Relentless pursuit. That speed that Notre Dame has in the middle of the field, look, that's the differentiator in my mind. And they do it against everybody. It's not just this Great Danes team. It was Duke last week. It was UVA last week. Throughout the course of the season, we always say 50-50 ground balls, but really when you're playing Notre Dame, it's like 90% ground balls because they're all coming up the Fighting Irish way.
Circle it up. McLean. Buzenkel for Pat Cavanaugh. This Irish team well-versed in securing leads. Gray off the sweep. Chris Cavanaugh to brother Pat. Those two have exploded in the second half. Buzenkel, no look inside against Galco. Shot clock's at 10. Pat Cavanaugh marked by Pacino. This Whistler past Pacino's ear and wide. Scott Marr says there isn't a player in the country who does more on the lacrosse field than his number 88. First time he's ever had a solo captain. Jake Pacino, so highly regarded by his bench boss. This is a shot clock violation against the Irish.
And I think Pacino at the next level, right? Like he's very good on the ball, but I don't know if that's like his most impactful asset that he's going to provide at the pro level, because he just, in transition, can create so much offense, and that is what the pro game is all about.
Really good handle, tremendous shot with a long pole. Right now, Notre Dame has this one secured by 5. The top team in the land. They were scared in that opening half. UAlbany had the lead after 30 minutes. A 5-1 third quarter, though, changed the complexion of the game in Notre Dame's favor. Final 48 seconds left. A very game effort from the Great Danes. Alex Pfeiffer muscling in against Parlett. Richmond off the hitch, fakes the flip. Behind the back pass to the inside. Jackson Palem not able to flick that one on. Liam Entenmann playing his final game at Arlada. Same for Pat Cavanaugh, same for Eric Dobson. Time soon to expire. And number 1 moves on to the quarterfinals. Notre Dame a winner, 14-9.
A game that was closer than the score. A first half that Notre Dame didn't bring their best product to the field, and they met a Great Dane team that was playing hard with confidence. But ultimately, the Cavanaugh brothers proved to be too much on the offensive end, and Will Lynch winning faceoff after faceoff after faceoff. Just too much to withstand on the defensive end for the Great Danes.
So, Notre Dame holding another team under 10 goals. They've done that 9 times this season. The Irish prevail. They'll see Georgetown. There's the rematch from the only team to beat them this season. As we look at the upper bracket, Denver already through, knocking off the Big Ten tournament champion Wolverines. Denver will see the winner of the game that's coming up on ESPNU. Syracuse and Towson squaring off at the Dome. The other lower bracket, Blue Bloods of Lacrosse matching up.
Yeah, these teams have been there before. An interesting matchup. I think Johns Hopkins, Virginia. John Hopkins won in Charlottesville early in the year. Virginia did not have their face-off duo healthy in that game, so maybe a different wrinkle. But these teams, I think, all played really good lacrosse in their first round matchups. And look, I think Hopkins, Virginia, and Maryland, like, they were pretty nervous going in those games, right? Like Virginia against St. Joseph's, that's a really talented team. They had won a number of games in a row. Johns Hopkins knowing Lehigh and the defense that they had. And then again, Maryland, they beat Princeton early in the year, but man, they struggled in their matchup in the Big Ten tournament, so.
Second time that Notre Dame's been a number 1 overall seed. Matt and I have some more work to do in the aftermath of a Fighting Irish win over the Great Danes of UAlbany. Notre Dame, the top seed in this 2024 Men's Division I Lacrosse Tournament. A 14-9 decision over UAlbany in front of the faithful here at Arlotta Stadium on Mother's Day. It was a treat to watch Devin McLean and the Irish work. Devin, thanks so much for joining us. Devin's our Capital One Player of the Game. Devin, when you think about the opening 30 minutes, what was it that UAlbany was doing that put a little bit of a scare into your squad?
Yeah, you know, they're a great team. They came out with a lot of energy, and we had some trouble matching that in the opening 30, but went into the locker room, went back to our fundamentals, consistency, and we're able to have a strong second half, you know, start doing what we do well, moving the ball, finding each other open on the crease, consistency in the goal, defense standing strong, and you know, clearing the ball well. So just getting back to the things that we do best.
And Devin, you mentioned, hey, we did what we do off ball and played great team offense. I think most of your goals, you have the ball for like a half a second, but that one out of the box in the clear, what was going through your mind when you took that to pay dirt?
Yeah, I don't get too many of those. It's pretty easy playing, you know, with all the great feeders we have on our team. But just came out of the box, was running down, you know, had a little bit of an opening and took it in there. But you know, all the credit to the guys I play with, you know, Pat, Chris, Eric, Jordan, they're great feeders and very easy to play with. And Jake and I have kind of made our money on the crease off them, and it's been, you know, it's been a great season. So looking to keep this moving on next weekend and see what we can do.
Devin, it's been a long time since February 25th. Since that time, you've won 11 straight. Next weekend in the quarterfinals, you get the team that gave you your only loss this season. What are your thoughts about facing Georgetown again?
Yeah, you know, I don't think it doesn't change who we're playing. Like I said earlier, we just got to do what we do best, and that's what I said: consistency, moving the ball, playing for each other. You know, tough ground balls, and yeah. So you know, I guess it's exciting that we'll get to face the team that it beat us earlier in February, but that doesn't change our mindset. That doesn't change anything. We're, you know, all about this team, all about each other, and going from there.
Devin, we appreciate your insight. Best of luck moving forward.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Devin McLean, 4 goals on 7 shots today. Notre Dame, a winner 14-9. We can share some of the highlights from the action. It was UAlbany making a great impression in the second quarter.
Yeah, and right here, this was the play that defined the first half. Emmett with the reckless take to the cage, and it drew a 3-minute unreleasable penalty, and the Great Danes made Notre Dame pay. And right here, this one right before the end of the half, Silas Richmond with a behind-the-back pass to Doherty, the sensational freshman.
In the second half, though, Notre Dame outscores UAlbany 5-1 in the third quarter alone.
Look, and they just started to play their brand of lacrosse. This was the goal we mentioned in that interview with Devin McLean on the clear, finds his way to pay dirt. And then again, just like their off-ball creativity, when they get the ball moving, what you're going to notice is defenses cannot match up off ball, and so the goals look really, really easy when ultimately it's a function of how efficient and effective their offense is.
And at the face-off dot, Will Lynch was super.
Yeah, look, he made adjustments. He started scrapping a little bit more in the middle of the field, but then really started to impose his will on the clamp, winning the ball quickly and to himself, and getting Notre Dame's offense significantly more time of possession in the second half than they did early on. All in all, Notre Dame survives and feeling good about themselves and what they put on the field in the second half.
Holding UAlbany to 9 tallies, 13 of the last 18, under 10 against Notre Dame. More to come right after these words. NCAA tournament first round matchup with UAlbany. 14-9 in the books for the Fighting Irish. Joe Beninati, Matt Ward finishing up matters here from our Lotta Stadium in South Bend. Towson and Syracuse coming up on ESPNU. A tale of the tape between these two. The first time that Towson's back in the NCAAs in some 5 years.
And Towson is playing lights out right now. This is a Syracuse team that's got a nice mixture of youth and experience. So I think this is going to be a very, very close game, especially when you look at who they are as a team, right? If we take a look at their statistics, right? Like pretty similar records, goals per game, goals allowed per game, face-offs pretty even. Again, I think Syracuse may be a tougher go during the regular season in terms of competition, but this is a Towson team that has played some pretty good teams close, and this is Syracuse is gonna have their hands full.
They've restored the roar at Towson this spring. 7-0 in the regular season, first unbeaten CAA season since '04. Towson and Syracuse coming up. 13th ever meeting between those two. It's a series that dates back to 1972. And with Syracuse, you think about all the explosive offensive abilities, especially of one Joey Spallina.
Yeah, look, they've got a lot of weapons on the offensive end. I think they move the ball as well as any team in the country. And so they're going to have to refine kind of their mojo as their game against Duke last week. They had a tough go of it.
Matt, this was a blast. Appreciate it. Today at our Lotta Stadium, Jake Taylor and Notre Dame found their offensive stroke in the second half, had too much for UAlbany's Great Danes. The final count of 14-9 for the Irish. Pat Cavanaugh and Notre Dame moving on to the quarterfinals. For Matt, for all the men and women in our crew, Joe Beninati, thanks so much for your time. Let's keep it rolling. We send you to Syracuse. Drew Carter and Ryan Boyle.